2 minutes ago, Catherine found something she was never meant to touch, an envelope sealed with the Queen's private mark, hidden where even senior aides wouldn't dare search. At first, it looked harmless, historic, personal. But the moment Catherine read the first line, her hands went cold. Because this wasn't a memory, it was a warning. And what it revealed didn't just challenge Charles's plan for Camilla, it threatened to destroy it completely. Before we go deeper into what this really means for the royal family, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single update. It begins with a decision Catherine doesn't fully realize she's making until it's too late to undo. She's in a restricted private space tied to the late Queen, the kind of area that feels heavier than ordinary rooms because it carries echoes no one speaks about. Catherine doesn't go looking for drama. She goes because something feels off, an unusual silence. A missing file, a locked drawer that shouldn't be locked. The palace has its rhythms, and Catherine has lived long enough inside it to recognize when those rhythms are being disrupted on purpose. Then she finds it. An envelope tucked where it doesn't belong, placed with the kind of caution that suggests it wasn't forgotten, it was hidden. The paper isn't crumpled like something neglected. It's protected, preserved, almost reverent, and the seal, small, specific, unmistakable, tells Catherine immediately that this isn't ordinary correspondence. It's private. It's personal. It's the kind of mark that says, this is not for staff. This is not for archiving. This is for someone who will understand what to do with it. The envelope shows signs it was intentionally hidden, not simply filed away. Catherine can feel it in the placement, in the way it sits as if it's waiting. Like a secret that didn't want to be found too early, but also didn't want to vanish forever. In royal life, things that are truly meant to disappear get buried, properly locked in archives, catalogued, sealed behind protocol. This wasn't buried. This was positioned. And the difference is chilling. Positioned means someone expected a specific person to find it at the right moment. Catherine's fingers hesitate on the seal. That hesitation is not fear of paper, it's fear of consequence. She knows what she's risking by opening something tied to the Queen's private world. Loyalty and restraint are the monarchy's oxygen, and Catherine has always respected that. But there's another loyalty stronger than etiquette. Loyalty to the future. Loyalty to the stability of the family she's raising. And when she finally breaks the seal, she isn't doing it out of curiosity. She's doing it because her instincts are screaming that this isn't just private, this is urgent. The moment she reads the first line, she recognizes the Queen's tone: direct, strategic, final. Not sentimental, not reflective. It doesn't sound like a grandmother writing family wisdom. It sounds like a monarch writing to protect an institution. Catherine can practically hear the voice behind the words, measured, controlled, sharp enough to cut through denial. The letter doesn't waste time. It names Camilla and the plan in language that feels urgent, almost like the Queen is reaching across time to stop something that was always going to happen once she was gone. And Catherine's emotional conflict detonates in silence. Duty versus truth. Loyalty versus survival. She knows what it means to challenge a king's plan, even privately. She knows what it means to hold something that could shift internal power. But she also knows this: if the Queen wrote a warning serious enough to hide, then the plan it references is serious enough to threaten the monarchy's future. Catherine doesn't want to be in the middle of it. But the letter has already placed her there. Then the foreshadowing strikes with a force that makes her breath catch. The letter implies the Queen predicted this moment. Not vaguely, not as speculation, as if she saw the pattern, saw the pressure building, saw how Charles would be guided, persuaded, pushed to act in ways the public would never notice until it was too late. The Queen's words don't read like fear. They read like preparation. Like a final chess move made in advance, waiting for the board to reach the exact shape she anticipated. Catherine reads faster now, heart pounding, because every sentence feels like it's tightening a noose around the plan. The letter doesn't just criticize, It sets boundaries. It frames consequences. It suggests the Queen understood that once a certain path is taken, it can't be reversed without damage. And then Catherine reaches the line that makes her blood run cold, one sentence that doesn't sound like advice at all. It sounds like a command. A final instruction delivered with authority that doesn't die just because the voice is gone. In that instant, Catherine understands why her hands are shaking. This isn't merely a secret. It's leverage. It's a weapon made of ink. And if the Queen wrote it this way, then she wasn't hoping someone would read it for comfort. She was expecting someone would need it for battle. But the real shock isn't that the Queen wrote it, it's why she wanted Catherine to find it now. The letter doesn't read like nostalgia. It reads like preparation. The Queen doesn't ramble. She directs. She speaks as if she knew exactly how the palace would move once she was gone, and she writes as if Catherine is the only one who could stop it. Not with speeches. Not with public rebellion. But with proof. And the most chilling part? The Queen seems to anticipate Charles's plan, almost line by line. Catherine can feel it in the rhythm of the sentences. This isn't the soft language of memory. This is the sharp language of strategy, carefully balanced so it can survive discovery, but unmistakable once you understand what you're looking at. The letter uses coded language, clear enough to understand and cautious enough to endure. It never shouts. It never accuses in crude terms. It chooses phrases that could pass as ordinary guidance to anyone skimming, yet become devastating to anyone reading properly. Catherine realizes, with a slow tightening in her chest, that the Queen didn't write this to be admired. She wrote it to be used. And that's the first realization that breaks Catherine's sense of safety. The Queen framed this as a contingency, not a complaint, not a family grudge, not jealousy, not bitterness, a contingency. The kind of word you use when you're preparing for something you know is likely to happen, even if no one wants to say it out loud. It means the Queen expected motion after her death, expected alignment, expected pressure, expected people to step into the vacuum and start shaping the monarchy in ways that would be hard to reverse once normalized. Catherine reads that and feels the weight of it because contingencies are built from evidence, not emotion. Then the letter turns, subtly, into warning without changing tone. It suggests Charles would be guided by advisors to protect Camilla's position. Guided. That word hits Catherine harder than any accusation could, because it implies Charles isn't fully acting alone. It implies influence, a filtered stream of briefings, recommendations, supportive counsel that feels like loyalty while quietly steering decisions. Catherine's mind immediately runs through what she's seen over the years, how access shapes outcomes, how certain voices become constant, how the right approach is always the one that benefits a specific circle. The Queen's words don't need to name the circle. They describe the mechanism, and Catherine can recognize the mechanism like a smell in the air. The Queen's tone stays protective of the institution, but wary of internal influence, and that tension is what makes the letter quietly explosive. She isn't trying to humiliate Charles. She isn't trying to punish Camilla. She's trying to protect the crown from becoming something vulnerable to private agendas. It's almost chilling how calm she is about it, like a monarch who has already accepted that love and loyalty can become dangerous when they are turned into policy. Catherine reads that and feels something shift inside her. This isn't just family conflict. This is a battle over what the monarchy will be allowed to become. And then Catherine senses the most unsettling part of all. She's being positioned as the keeper of the truth. Not openly named, not praised, not celebrated. Positioned. The letter speaks as if it assumes Catherine will understand the responsibility without being asked. It reads like a handoff, like the Queen is placing something into Catherine's care because she trusts her instincts more than the people who will surround Charles when grief has faded and routine has returned. Catherine's throat tightens at that, because being the keeper isn't an honor in this world. It's a burden, it's isolation, it's danger. The foreshadowing deepens when the Queen references a second document that must not surface publicly. Catherine reads that line twice, then a third time, because it changes the stakes immediately. One hidden letter is explosive enough. A second document implies a larger file, a larger plan, a larger truth. And must not surface publicly isn't a suggestion, it's a boundary drawn by the Queen herself. Catherine can feel the implications spreading through her mind like ink in water. Whatever Charles is planning for Camilla, the Queen anticipated it, prepared for it, and left a concealed lever that can stop it, but only if it's used correctly. Then Catherine's eyes catch something that feels like a coded trigger, a date or a phrase implying timing was everything. It's not just if this happens, it's when this happens. The letter reads like it's waiting for a specific moment, an event, a ceremony, a decision point where Camilla's position could be cemented beyond debate. Catherine feels her pulse quicken because she suddenly understands why the envelope was hidden, not archived. It wasn't meant for immediate grief. It was meant for a future crossroads, a moment when hesitation would be fatal and silence would become complicity. Catherine sits with the letter in her hands and realizes the Queen didn't leave comfort behind. She left instructions. She left proof. She left a weapon wrapped in restraint. And if Catherine holds it, it's because the Queen believed Catherine would have the courage to act when everyone else would choose peace. And once Catherine understands she was meant to hold this letter, one question becomes unavoidable. What exactly was Charles planning for Camilla? Charles's plan wasn't going to be announced. It was going to be normalized. Step by step, quiet changes. Soft language. A gradual reshaping of what Camilla could claim inside the family, inside the palace, and eventually in history itself. Catherine reads the Queen's words and realizes the plan wasn't about love. It was about legacy. And once legacy becomes strategy, no one is safe from the machinery that protects it. Because the most powerful changes in a monarchy are never delivered like breaking news. They're delivered like routine, a title here, a role there. A temporary adjustment that becomes permanent because everyone gets used to it. A quiet shift in who sits where, who speaks first, who is consulted, whose presence becomes expected. Catherine reads the Queen's warning and sees the outline of that strategy with brutal clarity. It isn't a plan that demands public approval. It's a plan that sidesteps public resistance by making each step small enough to swallow until the final picture is already in place. The letter frames the plan as a staged expansion of Camilla's role and influence, and Catherine can almost hear the language the palace would use to sell it internally. Continuity, stability, support for the king, unity for the nation. Beautiful words. Useful words. Words that make power moves sound like kindness. Advisors, the Queen implies, would push for continuity by strengthening Camilla's status, privately first establish it behind closed doors, normalize it in family settings, embed it in palace routines, and only then let it appear publicly as if it's always been true. That's how you make the public accept what it might have questioned if it arrived all at once. Catherine's fear sharpens when she realizes what that would mean for William's future household and authority. Because once Camilla's role expands in private, it doesn't stop at private. Private becomes precedent. Precedent becomes expectation. And expectation becomes pressure on the next reign. Catherine imagines a future where William inherits not just a crown, but a structure already shaped around someone else's influence, where boundaries become harder to enforce, because the institution has already been trained to treat Camilla's expanded position as normal. That isn't just awkward, it's destabilizing, because it blurs the lines of power inside a family that survives by keeping those lines invisible but firm. The Queen's letter hints at risks Catherine can't ignore: public backlash, internal fracture, succession complications. Not because people are cruel, but because the monarchy survives on perception. If the public senses behind-the-scenes engineering, if it looks like history is being rewritten in real time, confidence cracks. And confidence is the monarchy's real currency. Catherine can feel the chain reaction, factions forming, loyalties splitting, whispers hardening into public debate. She understands exactly why the Queen wrote this in the first place. Because once a plan like this becomes visible, it can't be undone without damage. And damage inside a monarchy always spreads outward. Then comes the emotional contrast at the heart of it. Charles' loyalty to Camilla versus loyalty to the crown. Catherine doesn't read the letter as an attack on love. She reads it as a warning about love becoming policy, about devotion becoming strategy, about a king making decisions for personal reasons while advisors translate those reasons into institutional moves. Catherine knows Charles is capable of deep attachment, and that attachment, in a palace, can become a lever others pull. The Queen's tone suggests she feared exactly that, not that Charles loved Camilla, but that the machinery around him would use that love to reshape the monarchy quietly, permanently, and in ways he might later regret. And then the foreshadowing tightens like a noose. The Queen warns of a trigger moment where the plan must be stopped. That phrase doesn't feel symbolic, it feels timed. It suggests a specific point, an event, a transition, a ceremony, a decision where Camilla's status could be cemented beyond debate. Catherine's mind races through possibilities, and the frightening part is that she doesn't have to guess wildly. The palace runs on calendars, on planned appearances, on carefully sequenced announcements. A trigger moment in this world isn't theoretical, it's scheduled. That's when Catherine's final realization lands with cold force. The plan may already be in motion. The letter doesn't describe an idea waiting to be born. It describes a machine already turning. A series of steps already being taken so quietly they can be denied if challenged. Catherine feels her pulse quicken, because she suddenly understands why the envelope was hidden, not archived, because the Queen expected the plan to begin after her death, and she expected someone to need a way to stop it. Catherine looks at the words again, and the weight of the decision settles into her bones. If she stays silent, the plan continues. If she speaks, the palace will move against her. Because institutions don't like unexpected truth, especially when it threatens a carefully engineered legacy. But Catherine can't confront a plan like this alone, because the moment she speaks, the palace will try to silence her. In the palace, information has a scent, and the moment Catherine touches something forbidden, someone senses it. Doors start closing, schedules shift, calls spike. Not because she's done something illegal, because she's done something dangerous. She's found leverage. Catherine doesn't even announce what she's holding, yet the atmosphere changes as if the building itself knows a secret has moved hands. And now, someone wants it back. It begins with subtle containment, the kind that can be denied if challenged, but felt instantly if you're paying attention. Staff who were meant to pass through certain corridors are suddenly rerouted. Doors that were casually open become politely guarded. Helpful check-ins appear out of nowhere, friendly faces asking how she's feeling, whether she needs anything, whether she'd like company. It's not comfort. It's monitoring disguised as kindness. Catherine recognizes it because she's seen the palace do it to others, wrap pressure in politeness until the target doubts their own instincts. Then a senior advisor asks questions that are oddly specific. Not general inquiries like, is everything all right? But questions about timing, about where she was, about what she was looking for, about whether she found what she needed. The specificity makes Catherine's skin go cold because it suggests surveillance of movement. Someone has been watching the space she entered. Someone knows she was there. And if they know that, then they're already calculating what she might have touched, what she might have read, what she might now possess. Catherine realizes the letter's existence threatens more than reputation. If it were merely embarrassing, the palace would manage it quietly, fold it into the endless archive of awkward family history. But this feels different, more urgent, more defensive, more strategic. The pressure around her doesn't feel like damage control. It feels like prevention. As if the letter is capable of stopping something currently in motion. As if it doesn't just expose a plan, it can break it. And while Catherine stays outwardly composed, she can sense the palace beginning to prepare a narrative in case the letter leaks. You can almost hear the phrases forming before they ever appear. Misunderstanding, grief-driven interpretation, emotional overreaction, private family sentiment being misread. That's how the machine protects itself, by framing the person holding truth as unstable. It doesn't argue the facts first, it undermines the messenger. Catherine understands that instantly, and it makes her grip tighten on the envelope like it's the only solid thing left in a room suddenly full of shifting floors. Then comes the foreshadowing that feels like a warning shot. Someone references protecting the king from unnecessary stress. The words are said softly, as if they're compassionate. But Catherine hears the threat underneath. Stress, in palace language, becomes a reason to silence people, a justification to delay conversations, a tool to keep information away from Charles under the guise of care. Catherine understands what they're telling her without telling her. Don't push this, don't bring it forward, don't disrupt the plan because we can claim you're harming the king. And Catherine sees the next move coming before it happens. They will frame her as emotional if she challenges the plan. They will call her protective instincts panic. They will label her concern instability. They will suggest she's acting out of grief or jealousy or pressure. Anything that makes her look human, in the worst way messy, so the institution can remain calm. Catherine hates conflict, but she hates manipulation more. And she can feel the machine tightening around her, trying to make her second-guess what she read, trying to make her doubt whether it's worth the fight. Then the cliffhanger arrives in the quietest, most chilling form. A message delivered without drama, without signature, without direct threat. Just a line that feels like it came from the building itself. Return what doesn't belong to you. Catherine reads it once, and her stomach drops, not because she's frightened of the words, but because the message confirms the truth. They know she has it, and they want it back before she can use it. And with pressure rising, Catherine makes a choice that changes the battle. She takes the letter to William. Catherine expects William to be shocked, furious, ready to confront Charles instantly. But when William reads the Queen's letter, his reaction is something far darker: recognition. He doesn't ask, "Is this real?" He asks, quietly, "How long has it been moving?" In that moment, Catherine realizes William may have sensed the plan before she ever found proof, and that the family has been walking toward this collision for years. William looks burdened, not surprised, as if he has been watching subtle shifts around Camilla for a long time, small expansions of influence, quiet changes in who is consulted, invisible adjustments in how the palace positions her presence. Catherine frames it as betrayal, because to her it is a plan advancing behind the family's back. William frames it as palace reality, because he's grown up inside a system where plans always move quietly until they become too normalized to stop. He worries immediately about destabilization, about how the plan could fracture public trust in the future reign, how it could complicate William's authority before it even begins, how it could turn the monarchy into a battlefield of competing loyalties. Catherine wants truth because truth can stop the machine. William fears fallout because fallout can destroy the institution. The tension between them is palpable. One is holding moral urgency, the other is holding constitutional weight. But the Queen's authority in the letter forces William to take it seriously. Because it isn't Catherine's opinion now, it's the late Queen's warning. And then William hints at something that makes Catherine's pulse quicken. Charles isn't the only force behind the plan. There are advisors, networks, people who benefit, people who push continuity and call it duty. William's eyes stay fixed on one line in the letter, and he says something that turns the situation from dangerous to immediate, There's an upcoming event where Camilla's status could be cemented. A moment that would make the plan irreversible once it happens. Catherine feels the room tilt again, but this time with clarity instead of panic. The letter wasn't just hidden, it was timed. And now she understands why. But if William already knew the plan was advancing, the next question becomes terrifying: who else knows? And who is helping it happen? Catherine and William realize this isn't only about Charles and Camilla. It's about a network of people whose careers, influence, and access depend on Camilla gaining more power. The Queen's letter doesn't name them directly, but it points to the mechanism: curated briefings, selective access, carefully shaped family unity. And once Catherine sees the pattern, she understands the real danger. The plan can survive even if Charles hesitates. Because a modern palace doesn't run on crowns alone, it runs on gatekeepers. On who gets 5 minutes with the king. On which concerns are framed as urgent and which are filed away as noise. Catherine suspects a tight advisor circle filters what Charles hears, not by lying outright, but by shaping emphasis. They amplify the arguments that protect Camilla's position and soften the risks that threaten it. They call it stability. They call it continuity. But Catherine and William can see what it really is. Controlled internal consensus, manufactured step by step, so the plan looks inevitable by the time anyone objects. William identifies loyalty leverage immediately, the quiet pressure placed on staff and family alike to stay aligned. Loyalty in royal life is rarely asked for directly. It's implied, rewarded, withheld. People learn quickly what happens when they dissent, access shrinks, influence fades, reputations get quietly reframed as difficult. That's how the palace keeps unity on the surface, while conflict rots underneath. And the Queen's letter, without naming names, seems to describe this mechanism like she's witnessed it too many times to ignore. Then the foreshadowing hits from the outside world, because palace strategy doesn't stay inside for long. A trial balloon narrative appears in the media's soft, polished language, testing how the public reacts to Camilla's expanding presence. It's not official. It's worse. It's unofficial messaging designed to feel natural, to make the idea settle in the public mind before the palace ever has to confirm anything. Catherine reads it and feels the same cold certainty she felt opening the letter. This isn't only internal. The plan is being socialized. Prepared. Made safe for acceptance. The emotional stakes become painfully personal. Catherine isn't just thinking about Camilla's title. She's thinking about the children's future roles, what kind of monarchy they'll inherit, what lines will already be blurred by the time William's reign begins. If Camilla's influence expands now, it shapes the next era by default. And Catherine refuses to let her children grow up inside a system where power is quietly traded in the name of family unity. The Queen's letter implies Camilla's camp has attempted this before, and that detail chills Catherine even more, because repetition means confidence. Confidence means they believe they can win. Then Catherine discovers something that turns the danger into a full-blown crisis. The letter is not the only copy. Someone else has one too. That means the secret isn't fully contained. It means someone else can weaponize it. It means the palace can attempt to retrieve it, suppress it, or distort it. Catherine realizes she and William aren't just holding leverage, they're standing in the middle of a tug-of-war over who controls the Queen's final authority. And as the palace machinery tightens around them, Catherine realizes the only way to stop the plan is to confront Charles directly before the next step becomes irreversible. Catherine doesn't approach Charles as a daughter-in-law asking permission. She approaches him as the future queen, holding the late queen's words like a blade. She doesn't accuse him loudly. She simply places the truth in front of him and watches his face change. Because Charles can argue with rumors. He can dismiss gossip, but he can't dismiss his mother's warning, especially not when it's written in ink meant to outlive him. Charles reacts defensively at first, the way people do when they feel cornered by something they can't control. Then the defensiveness fractures into emotion torn between love and legacy, between what he wants for Camilla and what the crown can survive. Catherine frames it as institutional survival, not personal conflict. She refuses to let it become a family feud, because she knows that's how the palace escapes accountability, by reducing structural danger into hurt feelings. She tells him this isn't about jealousy, it's about the monarchy's future being engineered behind the scenes. Charles implies pressure from advisors and fear of humiliating Camilla publicly, and that confession, however subtle, confirms everything the Queen warned about. Catherine insists the Queen anticipated this and demanded restraint, not because she hated Camilla, but because she feared what would happen when devotion became policy. Charles mentions commitments already made, and that phrase lands like a threat. Commitments means promises, timetables, agreements that might already be circulating through the palace like silent contracts. Then the cliffhanger breaks through. Charles admits the plan is already partially approved, not announced, not declared, but approved enough that stopping it would cause shockwaves inside his own household. Catherine doesn't flinch. She forces a choice: stop now or face consequences later. She makes him understand that if he continues, the Queen's warning won't be buried, it will become the story that defines him. But even if Charles hesitates, the palace may move forward anyway, because the final step doesn't require his public announcement. The last line of the Queen's letter isn't sentimental, it's ruthless. It reads like a final command designed for this exact crisis, one that gives Catherine a path to end the plan without mercy. Catherine realizes she has only one chance to act before the palace locks the narrative forever. And when she makes her move, the silence that follows is terrifying, because it means the plan didn't just pause, it collapsed. Because the Queen doesn't leave her comfort, she leaves her authority. The final line isn't "be strong" or "keep the family together." It's a directive, cold, precise, built like a key for a lock only Catherine would know how to open. Catherine reads it and understands instantly what the Queen meant. Don't debate this with emotion. Don't plead with Charles. Don't let advisors stall you into submission. Use the institution's own structure against the plan. Use the Queen's voice, preserved in ink, to trigger a formal halt that cannot be waved away as misunderstanding. Catherine's hands don't shake when she decides. That's the most chilling part. The hesitation vanishes, replaced by a clarity that looks almost surgical. She knows this move will be resented. She knows it will be framed as disloyalty by people who benefit from the plan. But she also knows something stronger. If she waits, the next step becomes irreversible. In palaces, once a new normal is established, you don't undo it with arguments. You undo it with power. So Catherine acts like the future queen she's been trained to become, not the daughter-in-law they expect to soften. She uses the Queen's authority to trigger a formal halt, private council language, internal directive structure, the kind of official intervention that forces everyone to stop moving for a moment and look at what they're doing. It isn't public. It isn't theatrical. It's the quiet version of a guillotine. Clean, swift, undeniable. The plan can't keep sliding forward on momentum when the monarchy's own internal machinery is suddenly ordered to freeze. And William stands with her, which changes everything. Because Catherine alone can be painted as emotional. Catherine and William together become a constitutional wall. His presence makes the intervention impossible to dismiss. It signals unity at the top of the future reign. It tells every advisor, every courtier, every hidden faction, this is not a personal objection. This is the next era drawing its boundaries. William doesn't need to shout. His silence beside Catherine does the shouting for him. The palace reacts immediately, not with open rebellion, but with panic disguised as professionalism. Advisors scramble to reframe the sudden halt as routine. They reach for calming words the way they always do: administrative review, scheduling adjustment, procedural alignment, anything to make it sound like nothing happened. But Catherine can see the truth in their speed. When people rush to call something routine, it's because they're terrified it looks like a defeat. The scramble proves the plan mattered. The scramble proves the plan was real. And then comes the most unsettling moment of all Camilla's response. Controlled. Composed. Almost unreadable. No public outrage. No visible collapse. That calm doesn't feel like innocence. It feels like preparation. Like a woman who expected resistance. Or a woman who has a countercard she's been holding in reserve. Catherine watches that calm and realizes the war isn't just between family members. It's between strategies, between networks, between people who understand that influence doesn't always announce itself, it simply survives. The foreshadowing returns like a shadow behind every victory. The second document is still out there. The Queen hinted at it. Catherine can feel it now as a loose end that could become a weapon in someone else's hands. If one letter could stop the plan, a second document could restart it or destroy something far bigger than anyone once exposed. The plan may have collapsed today, but the deeper mechanism that created it may still be alive, quietly searching for another route. And then, as if the palace itself wants to confirm that Catherine has crossed a line, she receives a message. Short. Controlled. Not a screaming threat, but a warning that doesn't bother to hide its intent. Retaliation is coming. Maybe not in headlines, maybe not in open confrontation, but in the way palaces retaliate best, through access, through whispers, through framing, through making the truth holder look unstable while the institution looks calm. Catherine reads it and doesn't show fear, but she feels the cost settling in, because truth has won today, and winning truth inside a monarchy always creates enemies. The final emotional beat lands heavy. Catherine doesn't celebrate. William doesn't triumph. The silence after the move is not relief, it's dread. Because they both understand the real price, the family has just been forced into a new shape. Lines have been drawn that cannot be erased. Trust has been tested in a way it may not survive. And even though the plan has collapsed, the tension hasn't disappeared. It has simply moved deeper, where it will grow sharper in private. Because in the end, this isn't just about a letter, it's about who controls the monarchy's future when the Queen's voice is gone. But her warnings still echo. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in next one.